I'm the prisoner. Won't you hear my plea? I need somebody, yeah, to listen to me. I beg you, brothers and sisters, I'm counting on you, yeah. Black babies in the womb, shackled and bound, chained by the caveman who keeps beauty down, smacked on the ass when they're squalling and wet. And to a spineless man who never forgets, never forgets that he's a prisoner. Can't you hear my plea? 'Cause I need somebody, Lord knows, to listen to me. I'm a stranger to my son who wonders why his daddy runs, yeah.
I agree, and recently, I'm gonna tell you, we have to do this as well, and I have to give the credit to this idea of Miss Kathy Hughes of Radio One. She's like, Michael, it is time that you guys organize a fund to set aside to help people who sacrifice for our freedom. Meaning, every time something happens, I hear this. Why don't the gang bangers jump up and do something for us? Why don't you kill them? You kill each other. And I say to myself, when is the last time you sent money to Assata Shakur? When is the last time you sent money to Matulu Shakur? When is the last time you sent money to Mumia Abu Jamal or Larry Hoover or Jeff Ford or Leonard Peltier? When is the last time you have made it your business to send money to a revolutionary or a hoodlum that has helped us? And until we start to do that, how can we ask these young men to be warriors? Because if they do it in the name of the hood, at least the hood gonna honor their name always. At least the hood gonna make sure at least their children got something or their mama's house is looked after. As a community, if we're going to ask people to bungee jump for us with no cord, be prepared to take care of them when they get a life sentence. Be prepared to look after their families. See, I don't mind the work getting done, but let's take care of the workers. Let's stop asking more out of people than we would do for ourselves. So what I'd like to see, my dream thing, is to see 1 million people from the culture dedicate $10 a month. That's $10 million a month, $120 million a year toward taking care of civil rights leaders who have worked on our behalf and are elderly now and don't have to take care of themselves, like Rosa Parks, whose rent was paid by the owner of Little Caesars Pizza. We should have had a fund to make sure that she never had to worry about that again in her life. We should have a fund that makes sure money makes it to Assata Shakur, and Matulu Shakur has legal representation and food, and Leonard Peltier, who has diabetes in jail, can get insulin and taken care of. And until we start doing it, $10 a month is about what you pay on a couple fast food restaurant visits. So if 1 million of us do that for the rest of our life, look at how well we'll be taking care of the people that we're asking to sacrifice on our behalf.
I agree.
Greetings, viewers. My name is Frank Brown, and I'm with my brother
Haqq Islam.
Welcome once again to the Northeast Political Prisoner Coalition podcast. Today's episode, as you see right before your eyes, is political education on political prisoners. Abdul Haq came up with the title, and I thought it's very important that we have a political education on political prisoners because it allows us to know what the importance is when it comes down to this work. So, without further ado, let us begin. But before that, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is Sefus and Kofa. Subscribe to that and like so we know who you are so that we can formulate a broader audience on the idea of political prisoners because we have a role to play in our lifetime, and that's to not let our political prisoners die in prison. So without further ado, Abdul Haq.
Revolutionary love, brothers and sisters. I bring my message to you this morning, this high noon, with a great deal of urgency. We're talking about political education. Right now, it's been broadcast throughout the country. There's a great crisis in education, related to Black people. Right now, the far right wing is organizing in many states to promote an Uncle Tom education, a Black Sambo race traitor education. You understand? They are very upset about truth, about political, historical truths being told. You understand? Which can energize and mobilize our people for justice. Because through the centuries, they have grown extremely rich through injustice. So anything that can mobilize to put a fire in the heart, fire in the spirit, to make people strive and struggle, you understand, for justice and equality and righteousness and human rights, they oppose that. So they are, coming with legislation to promote lies in education, to lie to our children. You understand? Now, what we need is a type of education which will have our students up late at night, every night. You understand? On a college level, that means up late at night drinking coffee, studying history, studying, trying to change the world, as opposed to being put to sleep in a classroom, hearing somebody talking about some old white nationalism. That is the type of education that these folks are proposing that be given to our children. I won't use the word brainwash because when you wash something, you clean something. But to putrefy us, to dirty up our brains with this idea white supremacy, its expression in ideological, in historical terms, is white nationalism, that this nation was built by a supreme race of people, that is the best organization, the best system that ever existed, because they are white and supreme. So anything that will give the truth about what they actually did, about what the system was, that the system was indeed a satanic system. You understand? Just to redress for a minute, when I was in college, in the penitentiary, they stopped the college program. So I went on and gave myself a PhD, and my thesis was that America is the devil. So that was the thesis I gave. So that type of understanding of the truth, what this system is, will organize and mobilize and push our people and agitate our youth to study hard. You understand? So our youth will not be like Charlie Brown, but will be like Malcolm X. So look it up, y'all. To get the details of what I'm talking about, go online and look up opposition to critical race theory. The role of race, the role of racism, of criminality, of murder. Murder has been the method they have used to grow extremely rich and to build empires. So it is in that context we want to talk about political prisoners. In that context of them murdering dark-skinned people, going around the world murdering dark-skinned people. It's in that context that people have risen up in righteous rebellion. You understand? And that's who our political prisoners are. In that tradition of those who rose up in righteous rebellion to defend our nation. You understand? But the real criminals who have constructed a criminal system have put forth an idea that those of us who stood up and fought for our people, who righteously opposed people who lied on God and said that God was a big racist in the sky that gave racists and white supremacists permission to go around the world murdering people and taking their land. Those who rose up against that lie, they were called criminals. So this reality of what's going on has to put some fight in us. You understand? This type of thing must create a rebellion in us, a righteous rebellion. You understand? So that our people will know the true essence, the true treasure of those who stood up for us. We had righteous rebellion, the Stono Rebellion in Virginia, which was inspired by the Haiti Revolution. You understand? Led by Boukman, Dessalines, Toussaint Louverture. You understand? The move in New Orleans. You understand? Where they thought to get to New Orleans they would be free. That rebellion. You understand? Nat Turner, Denmark Vesey, Gabriel Prosser. These are righteous struggles. You understand? That our people need to know about. This new reactionary education aims to erase that from our history and to produce Uncle Tom's bootlicking Negroes, behind sniffing Negroes, you understand, race traders, those who hate themselves, in their real nature, in the reality of who they are, as opposed to allowing our enemy, allowing someone who has murdered hundreds of millions of dark-skinned people to define reality of us, to tell us who our enemies are, or who our friends are. You understand? No, we got to have self-determination and the type of education that these right-wing, far right-wing racists, white supremacists, what they propose is an opposite of self-determination. Determination that they propose is their determination, them having their hands on the brains of our youth, you understand, to shape their brains and their mentality. And what we say no, that these are thieves that are trying to create, you understand, some weaklings, some unprincipled culture in our people, and we must cut off the hands of these thieves. These thieves, understand, a recent thing. January 6th, the people that had that riot in D.C., they are the same ideology of these far right wing people who want to take control of our education, who want to give us the opposite of self determination, want to give us their determination, and for them to tell us what our freedom fighters are. You understand what I'm saying? And to lie on us. You understand? We must tell the truth to our youth. Black Power.
Yes, that was very important, very detailed. And I think that when we talk about political education, as you laid out what the opposition position is, we have to look at the political prisoners and what the political prisoners stand on. The political prisoner understand what self-determination is, right? The political prisoner understands that self-determination is the right to exist. And every nation has a right to exist. And we decide how we're going to exist. So when you have the Black Liberation Army and you have the Black Panther Party, and you have a number of organizations that were grounded in the community, you are talking about organizations that had that national identity. So with having that national identity comes a national responsibility. So when we look at our political prisoners and we make a decision to struggle and fight to raise our consciousness about our political prisoners, then we're going to struggle and fight to liberate our political prisoners, to free our political prisoners, to make sure that our political prisoners do not die in prison. Like when I look at our comrade, Romaine Chip Fitzgerald, and I look at the fact that not many of us, as should have known about him, knew about him, right? So I have to learn more about him, and I have to teach people more about him so that his death in prison wasn't in vain, that his legacy continues to go out, because your legacy is the time that you existed physically and what you were doing during that time. So if you were committed to moving our people forward, then you were responsible, you were accountable. And us being accountable after you're gone physically means that we're going to be accountable by carrying on your ideas, by fighting for our people, by raising people's consciousness about political education. Now, on our last episode, I made reference to this book right here, right? It's called If They Come in the Morning. Angela Davis, Y. Davis, and a number of other authors. And in the book, it talks about the system, the state, how it classifies prisoners, right? It does not acknowledge political prisoners. It said that these people who committed criminal acts, these people are criminals, these people are terrorists, because they have ideas that are in opposition to that system that incarcerated them. So our actions make one or two statements, right? Our actions decides we either co-sign that idea that these prisoners are terrorists, or we'll go against that and say that they're political prisoners because they were struggling for power, right? Because that's the idea of being political, meaning that you are struggling for power. That's a simple definition of being political, is the relationship between people and power. And I think that has to be clear, that has to be understood, so that we can have solidarity with our political prisoners. When I came here, on my way here, struggling to get through traffic, what dawned on to me is the analogy, like being a parent. I'm a parent, right? Imagine somebody looking at my child, picking up my child, spitting my child's face after they ask me if that's my child, and then giving my child back to me, and then looking at me like, what am I going to do about it, right? So and I think that's the same thing with our political prisoners, right? They incarcerate our political prisoners for these crazy amount of times and look at us and decide, make a statement, what are you going to do about it, right? So now, as a parent in that situation that I just gave an example of, I would be an honorable parent if I tried to beat this person to death, right? And being politically conscious, we have to be responsible. We have to show appreciation. We have to show gratitude by struggling to free our political prisoners. So I think that we have to have this education. We have to read these books, and then we have to make a decision upon our consciousness about what are we going to do. Last time we were on air, I talked about actions that we can take. I want to bring that to the attention of viewers who are viewing this for the first time. These are postcards that we can sign and send to the governor Governor Wolf of Philadelphia. We can get ourselves a number of books to arm ourselves, to educate ourselves further. These books are written by political prisoners and members of various organizations that are determined to not let our political prisoners die in prison. See, this is serious business, requires serious attention, requires time and commitment. So, brother, while you were incarcerated and you were educating yourself on the affairs of our people, what did that make you do as a political prisoner, as far as you learning more about what led you into that situation? Because our political prisoners, although they're incarcerated, they're still getting further politicized.
Mm-hmm. Well, politics really was an engine in my education. You understand? I often say that once you have research skills, you don't really need the system that much. I mentioned before that the grants for prisoners' education was ended. You understand? So what became my engine was the politics. Well, the personal thing in my life, in my incarceration, was I was put in there for something I ain't even do. So I had a whole lot of, I had a firestorm burning in me that had me hitting them books hard. You understand? And that was just my personal, but what is happening to our people around the world, that understanding of what was going on with our people and what these folks have done. You understand? The detailed history of those atrocities that have been committed against our people, moved me and mobilized me, energized me to study. You understand? I got straight A's when I was in college. You understand? And and I continued that hard study afterwards. Like I say, it was the politics. Politics, you understand, is relates to the decisions people make that affect your life. Last week when we was in the projects, I mentioned a sister. I talked to her about politics and Black Power, and she said she didn't have no time for that. So I said that because of politics, the life expectancy of that sister was 10 years less than that of a white woman. So indeed, the biting irony was that you ain't got much time, that you ain't got no time because of politics, So these were the types of things that really that made me push myself. Also, this idea of white supremacy, that our intelligence was less than that of a white man. You understand? This was something that made me study real hard, because that was part of my struggle, which I don't care if the rednecks don't like it, part of my jihad. I don't care if Tom, if Sam or Sambo don't like it, was part of my jihad, you understand, in the library, in the books, you understand, because of this idea that the intelligence of my people, that we were a lower class of people, that we were subhuman, that we were below humanity, and a system that was proven to be inhuman. Like I said last time we did this, look up on HBO Max, exterminate all the brutes. You understand?
By Raoul Peck.
By Raoul Peck. And the white supremacist idea that God was the crime partner that said that white folks had the permission, you understand, through God to go on other people's lands and murder them up and take their land. You understand? Look up the Doctrine of Discovery. The same thing, the Berlin Conference that the Pope co-signed when they divided up the colonies. You understand? To rape, rob, and pillage. You understand? This is the type of education that can have our students getting straight A's in school, as opposed to falling asleep in the classroom, listening to some old white nationalist interpretation of history that'll bore them literally to death. Bore them not figuratively to death, but literally to death. You understand? Why you think we got all this madness in our streets? You understand? One of the reasons is that we don't have the right type of education. You understand? Will make us strive to the utmost of our excellence, strive to the utmost of the beauty in our humanity, the beautiful aspects in our humanity that our political prisoners have displayed par excellence. That's why we must defend them. We must stand up for them. And part of that rebellion is our support of our political prisoners. Part of the rebellion against these rednecks, you understand, who want to putrefy and dirty up our culture. You know? Part of our rebellion against them. We rebelled through the centuries. That rebellion must continue, you understand, by opposing that, you understand, and by us claiming the stolen treasure of our political prisoners. It's like we claim the treasure of gold and diamonds in South Africa, the rich minerals and resources throughout the African continent, the cobalt, the coal, the coffee, the magnesium, and all these rich resources. Just like we lay claim to them, we must lay claim to the stolen treasure of our political prisoners. Black power.
Black power. Yes, well said, well spoken, very sharp and to the point. And I think that we touched on all points. We conducted an analysis on what it means to be politically educated. Beyond that, we provided resources. We provided contacts that's scrolling on the screen. Now it's up to the viewers to share this episode. Please share it with at least 10 people. I think the more of us that share it, the message carries on to other places and other people and get involved. Very simple. Don't let political prisoners die in prison. So that's it for today. See you in about 2 Wednesdays from now. Stay in touch with us. And just to keep you informed, if you happen to be in Queensbridge, I'll be in Queensbridge this Wednesday from the hours of 12 to 2 with Transform America, my brother Sugar Ray, my brother Hollywood Miles, who allowed me to have a platform. This pandemic is still out here, so on behalf of political prisoners, we'll be giving out free masks. That's the Northeast Political Prisoner Coalition. We'll be right there, 40th and 12th in Queensbridge. Please subscribe to the page, the community page that we have for Queensbridge residents. It's called Queensbridge for Political Prisoners. And for everybody else, get involved. Subscribe to the Political Prisoner work page on Facebook and check out the website of Northeast Political Prisoner Coalition. What you was about to say, brother?
Yeah, in parting, I just, want to mention one issue that, is on top of our hearts. We go to many funerals, and, this is an issue that we express at funerals. We talk about the violence among our people, you understand? And, to give relevance to this topic of education, political education, if we look and we see the people who study, people like Malcolm X and Marcus Garvey, if we look at the culture of these people, and when these people go to gatherings, you understand, there's, historically there's been far less violence among people who study these type of folks. Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, and other black nationalist type of individuals. There are huge gatherings every year. For example, the African Arts Festival, where hundreds of thousands of our people come together.
Give me the dates.
That's the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of July this year, where hundreds of thousands of our people come together without one incidence of violence. But people who listen to what's his name, Little what you call whoever he is, I don't even remember his name. But people listen to folks like that, you can't ever get a gathering, a picnic, a barbecue, or a party where 50 of them type of folks get together without cutting, shooting, and murders. You understand? So, I'm saying this to express the value of us being a determining factor in our education. You understand? And part of that, like I say, the particular that we're dealing with today is to educate our people about the political prisoners, you understand, those among us who are risen to the pinnacle of humanity, you understand, standing up for us, and in the words of Marcus Garvey, up you mighty race, you can accomplish what you will.